See, the problem with you is you rarely exercise your self-discipline muscle. You just go with the flow. No backbone whatsoever. And that's perfectly fine until you start whining and complaining about your lack of success.
That at some point along the way, we get confused and we misunderstand who we are. We start building this false sense of self around all the stories and all the labels and all the things. And we start living our life that way. And we get confused about how life works, how we interact with life. And we start living much smaller than we really are.
See, if you go through life holding back, and most of us do, most of us, if we ask ourselves, have we done all we can do? Most of us will have to answer, no, we haven't. We've been holding back. We have ideas that we don't act on, things we want to do. We're afraid to take chances.
You refuse to raise your standards. You refuse to push yourself. You refuse to give a little bit more, give a little bit extra.
All that you have to do in order to start to pursue your dreams is take small actions every day that align your life in that direction.
You have to be willing to be hungry enough to understand that if this is something that you are truly going after, then work has to be applied. You can't make excuses. You can't ask for a pass. And you got to understand that you got to pay a toll to cross the bridge.
Whatever your answer is, you can do it right now, today, starting today, right? It's still possible. You can start doing that right now. It's empowering the present with the future. There is nothing stopping you from making it happen right now. You never ever have to feel that way if you start doing it right now. And you can do it right now.
The thing about self-discipline is that it is necessary for everything you do in your life. You have to be self-disciplined.
And once you understand that you can always make a different choice and get a different reaction, and that's the power in your life. That's the power that you have, is no matter what's going on, you can choose to think differently, believe differently, see differently. All of those things are a choice. If you have a why, you can survive almost any how.
Once you begin to discover who you are, then you really realize how you have been given authority and dominion over everything on the face of the earth, including all the dimensions of your life. But you can only do that through the struggle of life.
Get better, grow and learn and develop and live. Live in defiance of the weakness and in rebellion against the decay. Fight them as they creep in with their offers of instant gratification and immediate rewards. Fight them for every inch they try to take. Do not surrender any ground ever.
When you commit to something, you require yourself to bring all of your disparate components moving in a single direction, united in a single direction. So it's a unifying act. And then once having been unified, well, then you can bring that unity to bear on a variety of different tasks. But you have to bring it together first. So, and that makes sense developmentally. You see children start out as a disparate bundle of motivations and emotions sort of warring with one another. And then they can integrate that into single games that they can play with themselves. And then they integrate that with games they start to play with other people. And all of that is integration. It's not subjugation, it's not repression. Not if it's a good game, it's integration. You want to get integrated because then you have all the horses that are pulling your chariot pulling in the same direction. And you're much more likely to get to where you want to go then, and also much more likely to specify a good place to go. So that's that's something else conservatives have to teach young people, which is, well, get yourself disciplined. Well, why? Well, not so you're a slave, but so that you could be a master. To use a terminology that you're not supposed to use anymore. But, this is in relationship to yourself, not to others. So, yeah, and to begin with, you have to accept an external master because you just don't have the wisdom to do that for yourself, or the ability or the opportunity often. Everybody knows this. They feel bad when they decide they're going to get themselves in good shape and go to the gym, and lasts like 3 attempts, yeah. And then no one's happy about the fact that they quit. And they berate themselves for it. And we know that we need to go through a disciplinary process. And we need to subjugate ourselves to a disciplinary process. That's part of the problem with the constant harping about the, oppressive patriarchy. But you need a disciplinary process. So, well, that's just oppression and slavery. It's like, no, it's not. No more than a game is. Not a good game. A good game isn't oppression and slavery.
A lot of people, like I was talking about, taking the path of least resistance. I believe in life you must earn the right to be called a man. And a lot of people do not think the way I do, and that's fine. I'm not asking to be David Goggins. Trust me, it's a hard road to hoe. It's not fun.
Like it.
It's not fun all the time. But the thing about it is, you have to look, I looked at my hardships as challenges. Once I got over the pity party, because I went through that phase.
Of course.
I'm a normal human being. But I realized that got me exactly where I was at, even worse. As I looked at those challenges, the way most people do, woe is me. Why the fuck can't I get a break? Why? I wish I was better. I wish my parents were better. I wish I had a better education. I wish this, I wish that. They have all these wish sandwiches. I started realizing, how can I fucking figure out how it can work for me? So the one thing we don't do is when we're in that dark place is a great learning environment. If you can sit back in a dark place and find quiet to just think, there's so much power in your failures, in your suffering. Because why? You're still alive. You're still fucking here. So you gotta look at that shit. My God, man, this is power, man. Like, now I gotta flip this. How many men would be able to do what I'm about to do, what I'm about to try to do? Like, literally, what gave me strength was when I was at the worst of my worst. How many men would even fucking say they want to try to be a Navy SEAL? I'm at the worst spot of my life. Like, I can't even walk down the street, let alone run down the street. And I'm gonna now call a recruiter up and try to be a SEAL. There's a lot of power in that. But people don't see it that way. They see it, man, that's stupid. I had this voice in the back of my head that I kept on running from. I was afraid of water. I was afraid of dealing with things that made me feel unaccepted. I didn't accept myself. So I kept on going towards things that I felt good. Let me go this way, but something kept on saying, fuck you, you have it, man. You got it, man, but you're gonna have to fail a lot, but you have it. And like I said, that voice kept on haunting me, but that voice kept on saying, if you face it, you realize it's not that bad.
Persistence is self-discipline in action. Your ability to persist in the face of all setbacks and temporary failures is essential to success in life. Napoleon Hill said, persistence is to the character of man as carbon is to steel. The primary reason for success is persistence, and likewise the primary reason for failure is lack of persistence, quitting too soon. There is a direct link between self-discipline and self-esteem. Each time you discipline yourself to do what you should do when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not, your self-esteem increases. This, why there is direct relationship between self-esteem and persistence. Each time you persist and force yourself to continue on, even when you feel like quitting, your self-esteem goes up. Each act of self-discipline strengthens every other act of self-discipline. Every act of persistence strengthens every other act of persistence. When you discipline yourself to persist over and over, you like and respect yourself more and more. You become stronger and more confident. Eventually, you become unstoppable. Persistence is its own reward. Every time you force yourself to persist on a task, whether it is large or small, you feel happier and better about yourself. When you go the extra mile and do more than you are paid for, or more than is expected, your self-esteem goes up. You feel more powerful and in greater control of your life. In your career, when you go the extra mile, you put yourself on the side of the angels. The primary difference between winners and losers in life is simple. Winners never quit, and quitters never win. Your ability to respond effectively to setbacks, your level of response ability, is the measure of your readiness to succeed. When you experience a major setback or problem, you will feel temporarily stunned. This feeling is very much like a punch in the emotional solar plexus. You will be stopped for a few seconds or a few minutes. During this period, you will often feel discouraged or experience self-pity. You will say, "Why me?" However, it is not how far you fall that counts, but rather how high you bounce. Your aim is to bounce back as quickly as possible. Resilience in the face of unexpected reversals is vital to long-term success. Remember the warrior's creed. I will lay me down to bleed a while and then rise and fight again. Don't be surprised, shocked, or set back when things go wrong. Your best laid plans will often fall apart. Instead, expect disappointments and setbacks as a part of life. Take a deep breath, pick up the pieces, and continue onward